guys, it's a beautiful day and the perfect day for another episode of the Learning Insight podcast. My name is Joanna and I'm your host for today. And we have a very special guest today. We're going to be having a wonderful conversation. Yes, I said so. And I'm just going to be introducing everyone right away. First, we have Ope.
Hello, guys. It's nice to be here.
Yeah, and then we have Grace.
Hi, I'm happy to be here. How is the weather today?
It's fine, thank you. It's fine, thank you. And then we have Dr. Anthony Muoka, who is a civil engineer. He is a doctor. He did not stop at BSc. He did not stop at MSc. He is a PhD holder and he majors in sustainable engineering. Good morning, sir. How are you doing today?
I'm fine, thank you.
How's everybody? Okay, why are you looking sad?
Am I looking sad? I should be happy. I should look happy because today is Friday.
Today is Friday.
Looking forward to the weekend.
TGIF.
It's not like anything
It's
really happened.
Friday.
Honestly.
Something always happens on Friday.
Something always happens.
Whether you mean it to or not.
Actually. So, my first question. You know, students are funny. Students are
That is
funny.
true. That is true.
So, I just want to ask, in all your years of teaching, what was that one time that a student had an excuse for not doing an assignment or a project and you just knew this one?
It's not flying.
Well, I say all the time. I experience it.
Wow.
I don't think I've given an assignment or a quiz or even a final exam that one student will not come with. My great-grand-uncle had pneumonia 6 weeks ago. And I wasn't, when they start giving their reasons, I kind of tune out. Because I'm like, there is no
Really?
justification for that. You're just trying to think of something you can tell me to let things go.
Yeah. You just did not do
So
that.
a prof, one of my colleagues would always say, students will always be students.
Yeah.
So as much as you want to make sure you do the right thing and the right timeline and things like that, you must always make room for things like that. So, we have to deal with those things, but we ignore them ultimately. As long as it's not too stressful. Well, I'm primarily in a private university.
Yeah.
So the focus is kind of student-centered. It's all about them. It's not about the system. So as much as you want to train them, you still have to
Get out of
make room for whatever you come up with.
Yeah.
So that's just kind of that for me.
You agree with
It's
that?
annoying. I hate it.
Okay, you don't agree with that.
No. Look, I'm sure if you think back to your lecturers in school, everybody has like a personality. This lecturer is this kind of person. This lecturer is this kind of person. My kind of person is do the right thing. Don't. There is no justification for anything else. So I hate when I'd rather shift an exam than try to deal with one student that has one issue or the other. So that's me. That's how I see all of those things.
True.
But is that something you had to experience? Like is that something you knew about when you started?
No. Oh, it's been a very, very steep learning curve. I had to.
Wow.
Oh.
Yeah. Me as a student, no trouble. I just sit in the corner, take my lecture, write my exam. So, so when I came into lecturing, I expected that of my own students. But
Wow.
the first few months, like I will, yes. I will keep going to like my HOD, my dean to complain
Oh.
that I don't get what is going on. So they will now be telling you, no, look, this is how it is. This is how it is. So you slowly adapt and adjust,
But how do you deal with students that come up with excuse regularly? Because there are those particular students
That one,
in,
I feel
in
know
school
that these ones are just
they are
not.
perpetual complainers. They always
Yeah.
come up with excuses like all the time.
Yeah.
In my department, that's when I was in school, there was somebody
There's
like
always
that.
somebody
Yeah,
like
that
that.
was it.
So how do you deal with such
In
students?
every class, every year, you definitely have them. Once you come the first time, we'll listen to you, we'll take care of your problem. Second time, okay. From the third time, sometimes you come, so are you in the office? I may be in the office, I have lecture now. That kind of thing. So once everybody has, like how lecturers have reputations, students
Yeah.
also have
Yeah,
reputations.
yeah.
So even amongst lecturers, we discuss our students.
Yeah.
Say this person is a troublemaker. He's a serious student.
Yeah.
You didn't know.
I know
Yeah,
now.
I know that.
And
I know that.
definitely.
We may not know everybody in the class.
Yeah.
Like my dean, for example, this guy has a talent. He can call almost every staff by name.
Oh, wow.
I always tell him, sir, this is impressive. I can't do it. You tell me your name now, and 5 minutes later, I'm like, sorry, please, what's your name? So I don't forget. So people are like that. But within a class, the serious students, you know them.
Mhm.
The very unserious ones,
You
you
know
know
them.
them. But those that are just minding their business in the middle, we may not know all of them. So
Yeah.
when the troublemakers start to show themselves, we're like, this one came last week to come here. Like, we know him is a trouble. Don't worry, just ignore him. You know? So we know them and we treat them accordingly. Like that.
Okay.
One of those ways to
Yeah.
avoid the staff room when I was in school.
Yeah.
Everybody dreaded the staff room.
Are you serious?
Yeah, like this was even in secondary school. So when people are going to the staff room, people are like, no, I don't want to go. I don't want to go.
Why?
Because when you enter,
everybody's there.
all the lecturers, it's not like they have
All
their
the- all
separate.
these teachers.
It's
are there.
opened like an open factory where
Okay, I
staff
think
are
we
just
had-
all the gaze is just upon
So,
you.
yeah, once you open the door and enter, everybody's.
I think we had one
yeah,
office
in my
like that
secondary
in my
school, yeah, we had
Yeah.
one office like that before they had to work on it.
Uh,
The English department, it was just
Why is
the
it always
English teachers there when you
Are you
come in.
serious?
Mostly
And then we
GSTs.
now had a horrifying matron that was also an English teacher.
Ah.
She knows each student
Yeah, some people
by
are like
name,
that.
be it boy or girl. And there were more than 1,000 students in that school.
It's a talent.
It
It has to be a
It
talent.
is.
And she knows the bad ones
And the good one.
and the good ones.
I don't even know that is intentionality or it's just talent.
No, it's not. Knowing which student is which is not intentional. It's just, I mean, a student is always coming to complain about some nonsense. You, after 1, 2, 3 times, you know the person.
Yeah.
Student never complains, but like you mark a script 95%. You're like, who is this student? You know? That kind of thing. Your next time in class, maybe you call the name of the student just to put a face to the name. something
Okay,
like
okay.
that.
That's nice.
Okay, sir.
It always happens. I can imagine like an office like that
Mhm.
with everybody seated. Once you enter, all of them will probably look at you, and in their minds they'll be like, "This one."
Just come again.
that
And
kind
if a
of
lecturer,
thing.
if a teacher is complaining about you, and that will not chip in. You sure it's him, but it's him, but I know, yes, I
Even
know
we
him.
have been in such situations where people have faced that thing. So, sir, you lecture both in the public university and private university, which I
Yes.
think is really good. Like, which came first?
Private university for me,
Okay. Then how did the second one come about?
money.
Hmm.
You know how much lecturers are paid these days. It's not enough to take care of things.
Yeah.
Wow.
If you hear what a professor takes home,
A professor.
full professor at the height of this thing, he's like your normal take home. It's poor. So most of us have to teach multiple universities. Some
Even in
people
private
do.
universities.
Private university is slightly better, but it's still the same
Okay.
thing. And you know, with like private, you walk and you walk and you walk, that kind of thing. Like
Sure.
my schedule this semester, I'm teaching 18 hours a week,
18 hours a week.
Tuesday to Saturday, in
Wow.
my university. Then in Uni Abuja, I teach.
Oh, in one.
See me
Oh.
thinking the two.
No. So it's like you asked, money, private university, fine. I started as a lecturer too.
Mm.
Money it was okay. But then I was like, can I do something else?
Mhm.
I didn't have any experience in practice.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
teaching was what I was comfortable with, very good at. So why not take another one? A lot of lecturers do it. So I went to Uni Abuja because it's close. I don't have to go too
Sure.
far. I was
Okay.
like, can I do something in the similar? He was like, yeah, they need people. Come on. So for 3 years now,
3 years.
I've been in the 2 universities. Yeah.
Okay. So does that mean you have to do some practice before you can teach, before you can practice? Or
What do you mean practice?
you said that you
Okay,
had not yet
practical
practiced.
experience,
Okay, yeah.
There's a huge difference between what you learn in the classroom and knowing
The
how
actual,
to teach
yeah.
something.
Yeah.
Even if you are trained to be an engineer,
Yeah.
you still need to spend some time working under an engineer,
Yeah.
like learning the processes, the little things. So I've done ITs, but you won't count IT as, real experience.
Okay.
So because will I say journey has been after my secondary school, straight into uni. After uni, service, then masters, then PhD. So it's just been like that for me.
Okay.
So it's not like I don't intend to go into practice, but for now, I've been lecturing for 5 years now. So
Okay.
I think I know what I'm doing there. So I can go to any school and lecture. But practice, I will need to work with somebody and then gradually.
And that will take some time.
Is
It will
teaching
take
a
some
hobby for you? Like, is it something you love?
Is teaching a hobby? Not really. It's a profession. It's what I know how to do.
Okay.
I like to educate. I like to learn. I like to grow. So I won't call it a hobby. It's not something like when I go home, I'll teaching or something. I don't know.
That would be so
It's
strange.
something I do. Yeah, hobby is something you do in your spare time.
Yeah.
I think that's how I see it.
Yeah.
But teaching is my primary responsibility. It's a job. It's okay.
Okay. So we're talking about practical experience. Having practical experience, how is that? Like, do you think it's better to have that experience in the field and then coming to lecture, or lecture and then going to the field?
That was my goal,
Okay.
or that was my reasoning from the get-go. After your PhD, go into practice,
Yeah.
gain experience,
Okay.
then at some point, maybe once a day, teach part-time in a university.
Yeah.
That was the plan, from the beginning. It didn't quite work out that way. So, but I think, yes, it's important to have experience.
Yeah.
Because as much as you're teaching theories and concepts and all of that, you still need to relate it to what's actually going on. So the more, I think experience makes you a better teacher. That's the best way to answer that. Otherwise, you're just, reading stuff, boring lectures and things like that. But when you can bring in actual things that go on, I think people can connect more with what you are saying.
Yeah.
Which is the important thing. Because if you don't connect with your audience,
there's
It's
nothing.
going to be stressful. I know that for me, there was one course in particular that I think the lecturer had a lot of experience. I studied mass comm, and mass comm is very practical, or rather it should be.
Yeah.
Because if you're just telling me about media and I graduate, I've never been in front of the camera. We used to do like what we were doing is what we graduated and we were doing. Like even it was so like we saw the value. I remember that time he had asked us to pick a brand and then an SDG. So you're working like you're trying to, the brand is promoting the SDG.
Yeah.
And then we will do projects. Everybody will have a project and then we'll bring it to life. So one was Google Nuts. You know how they sell popcorn and granuts?
Yeah.
So it was like a package form of that. That I think is Google and EPA. They call it locally.
Yeah, that's
So that was the product, and then you now bring it, the packaging, everything, and then we have people from Noah's Ark, like some of the top advertising agencies in Nigeria come and then be the judges, and then source people from there. So it was that's the experience that he had brought life to the class.
And you do all of this while you are in school.
While
you're
we're in
studying.
school.
Yeah.
Some of us were
That's
doing
how
the
it's
YDX.
I'm
And looking outside
What did you study?
I studied economics.
My fellow mathematics.
But like, how can you be practical? Like in civil engineering, what is the practicality of it? Like teaching, when you're teaching the course outside IT.
Yeah, I think you need to break it down to which aspect of civil engineering. We have different areas. You have structural engineering, which is like your buildings, your bridges. You have highway, roads, You have geotechnical, foundation. It's a huge area as well. You have public health.
Yeah.
You have water resources. You have I can't think of all of them now, but there are so many different aspects to civil engineering. So you can't be everywhere. You can't know all of them. You can't do everything. Like me, I'm primarily into structural engineering.
Okay.
So like buildings.
Yeah.
So when you want to describe the considerations that go into how you choose sizes of things, how things look, the
Okay.
quantity of like reinforcement materials that goes into constructing a building. Sure, you can have this knowledge of it,
Yeah.
but it's different if you've done quite a few of them.
Okay.
There are so many challenges you come across that you may not have been aware of while you are just studying the course. But once you've gone to practice, you're like, this is how this is done, but watch out for this. So this can go wrong. Plan for this, take care of this. Then there are things like managing personnel. It's one thing to do your design, you do your drawings, think of, okay, I'll do this. But how do you manage the day-to-day on site? How do you motivate your people? The financial side of things. So there is a lot.
Yeah.
And again, even within structural engineering, there are so many little things to it. Again, you cannot be everywhere. Mine is analysis and design primarily, but experience gives you context, big picture. It aids learning. It really does.
Yeah.
Like, talk about your mass comm now. I have a friend who is studying mass comm as well. She will always complain that they're asking them to do this or talk about this. Or
That's how we
describe
were
this,
that
or
time. We were
do like a recording
complaining.
and submit something. But we're telling her, that's good now.
It
You
is.
you should
It
appreciate
is.
it because you are actually learning. By the time you finish and come out, you can literally go straight into.
You even have a portfolio to show before you start
you.
graduated.
Like for me, when I was in school, there was theater department behind my department. So when they are having shows and concert practicals,
Yeah.
we can watch them from the window. So like it was a distraction, but I was happy for them because they had more of the practical than we that were always in the classroom receiving lectures and then there's no practical to
But-
it.
I feel
like
like
that.
What course?
Do you understand?
What
We
course
do
was that?
few practicals. Do you understand?
Yeah.
But it's not key practicals because I can say how many practicals have I done that I'm actually using today.
I feel like all
Just
these
a
courses.
few.
I feel like all these
Do
courses
you
are
understand?
like
Just a few. But okay, I think it was just once that we had to go on a field trip that we had to come and go to industries and see one. Just once in 5 years.
Oh, 5 years.
That's crazy.
in
I
5
think
years.
it's SLT.
SLT.
Yeah. Is it a 5-year course? I
Yes,
thought
it's
it
a
was
5
4-year
years
program.
course.
I thought it was
I think
4.
it depends on.
But your course seems
university.
like something that
That's
should be
practical.
purely practical.
I know, right?
Yeah. You should be in the lab. throughout.
Welcome to Nigerian Public University.
And that actually brings me, because I feel like a lot of people, there's this perception, people are like, do I really need to go to school? Like, I come out and I feel like I don't have the know-how. No, so like, what do you have to say about that? Do you still feel like it's necessary for us to go through that process? Okay.
Yes. I think the problem is we need to review how we teach. It's ongoing in a lot of places. Universities are trying to change. Like in my school, we are trying to go into outcome-based education.
Okay.
So it's not about this is what you're supposed to know.
Yeah.
It's more about
Okay.
at the end of this, what can you do?
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's what we're trying to do. So things like flipped classrooms, project-based learning, blended learning, a lot of all of these teaching strategies, we are trying to bring them in to change that so that you don't get that sense of, I just learned all of these things, I don't know what I'm going to do with it. So it is more like, this is what I want to do, then this is what you need to know to do that thing. You understand? So it's like that. I guess, But people will always feel that way. I think there is a lot of unnecessary stuff in our curriculum.
Sure.
Our curriculum have not been updated for how many years?
Yes. Recently, we did CC Mass, where universities were given a little bit more control over what they teach, which is a step in the
Yeah.
So our current
That's
100 level
nice.
students
That's
now are
nice.
using the CC Mass curriculum. Like
They
universities
not do this
can now
one for
set
us.
what they teach instead of teaching,
Teaching you everything.
everything.
When I was in school, you take computer science
go to another
courses,
faculty
you
and
do
borrow course.
engineering, you do
Are you
plant
serious?
science, you go, it was too
You used to do
much.
engineering courses.
Yes, now
Oh
you
my.
go to zoology, you go, we were everywhere.
That's so strange.
We
I think
were
the
that
only
was
broad
strange.
course we had
everywhere.
was psychology, and it was beneficial to us
I hated
because
that course.
I loved
You did
it.
Ah.
psychology.
I did
I
psychology
loved
in
it till we
100
reached the
Wow.
biology part of
first
it.
semester. That was my worst grade ever in my entire undergrad.
I would say for me, I touched the entire
Pointless.
natural science department. In fact, there's no department I didn't touch in natural science. Everywhere, everywhere.
Was it a new department? You know, it happens sometimes if it's a new department.
really,
and you don't
oh.
have
You
a
know
lot
what
of.
which one?
SLT is not really a new department
No,
in
in your
University of
school.
Jos. No,
Oh,
no,
okay.
it wasn't. But you are just everywhere. Every
Grace.
breaking down place.
You know,
Oh my
like
God.
I did my master's abroad and I taught a little bit abroad, not
Okay.
as a lecturer, but as a teaching assistant. So when you look at the way they structure their programs compared to Nigeria, there are advantages to their system.
Okay.
They strip out a lot of
Unnecessary
unnecessary
things.
stuff.
Yeah.
So if you're studying civil engineering, like this particular school can be known for structural, computational. Another school
Yeah.
can be known for highway management, something. So kind of like what CCMAS is trying to accomplish.
Okay.
Different schools have their different specialties, something like that.
Oh, okay.
You know, so you go straight into what you need to know. 3 years, you are done.
Yeah.
And you are, at least you are well grounded in that area,
Yeah.
aspect. You know, personally, I prefer that. Maybe because I've experienced both of them.
When you went there, how was it transitioning from the Nigerian
Yes,
way of
yeah,
teaching and
to-
then went to, how was it?
It was easier.
Oh,
We suffer. I don't think that's the right word, but like we do a lot of unnecessary stuff. The way we learn
Yeah.
is stressful. The kind of exams we write are stressful.
yeah.
You know, there it's about knowledge. Like, do you actually understand?
Understanding what you
Yes.
learned.
There is very little cramming. There's, do you understand these concepts, these ideas? Can you apply them to
Yeah.
this situation, to this problem? Personally, I found it easier, but there was an adjustment period.
Okay.
You know, you're used to doing things a certain way. You meet another system. You need to,
Just
adjust a little bit.
Mm.
So after that initial adjustment period,
It was
it
easy.
was nice. It was fine.
because I have
enjoyed
a
it.
friend. So sorry. I have a friend that is in UK now doing her masters. Same department, best graduating students from her department. And we were talking the other day, and she was like, "What we did in these 4 years was complete waste of time."
Seriously.
Because going there now,
Sorry.
you have to. There are a lot of things they didn't teach us that she has to start learning
Wow.
now.
That
That I should have learned
Yes,
earlier
that is
on.
true. And sometimes it's not just that you should have learned them earlier on, but the way we learn them is
Okay.
different
Different
from the
from-
way they actually are or they should be learned.
Wow.
Okay.
So part of that adjustment period is sometimes you need to reteach yourself things you have done,
Mhm.
but now properly, if that makes any sense.
Yes.
So I get what she's saying. I won't call it a waste of time, but
She was.
I understand where
She
she's
just
coming
went
from.
straight. She was like really because now you have to read more
Yes.
to try and
Yeah.
cover up because you're meeting people who are
Yeah.
from other countries that have done these things.
Meeting Indians.
Indians, all this China.
These guys are smart.
You know.
And
Don't-
even
don't
Japanese
try
people,
and-
we need to look. I don't know if
But-
you guys have seen videos from the Japanese educational system.
Yes, no, all these small children making robots.
But for me, I
I've not-
think
I've not-
those Indian educational videos,
Mm.
it helped me a lot in school
It does.
because
Hmm.
there were times that lecturer taught a
So no
particular
enter.
topic. We did not understand anything, but we have to go back to
Those
those
videos.
those
yeah.
videos. Those was what like guided us, and it helped us understand this is what this person is trying to say.
Yeah.
And I think with those videos, those courses that I used those videos, I came out with good grades.
funny enough,
it's some
I
of
really-
what we do right now,
Mm.
like part of the blended learning thing.
Yeah.
If you teach a course, you find potentially helpful videos and things like that and send to
Okay.
the students. Watch this. It may give you a better understanding of what I was trying to say.
Okay.
Mm.
So
Well, have you thought about creating your own materials?
I've thought about it, but let's see how this one comes out before I think about recording something.
Mhm.
I don't know.
Because they're not camera shy.
Are you sure?
Definitely
Are
not.
you sure? No, like I think COVID changed the way we look at education.
Yeah.
True.
It forced us to switch to online resources. So we
Mhm.
started doing online lectures
Mhm.
and little, adjustments and things like that. So as a result of that, it's a possibility now. But it's not like I've said, okay, I will create my own series for this course or something like that. No. My colleague tried it. You can't just use your laptop and do it. If you want to do a good
Yeah.
something, you need specific equipment. You need,
Yeah.
It's doable. It's someday.
Someday.
But if you create such content, will it go on like Coursera, or is it for
Yes.
use within the universities you teach? Or you'd like to place it in one of those places?
I don't mind.
Based on the process.
I don't mind. It can eventually be on YouTube,
Yeah.
things like that for someone else to use. Because
Mhm.
some of my students have come to me and the way, I've taken this course with two different lecturers, for example, and I actually understand the way you teach it.
Okay.
So things like that get you thinking, okay, it may actually be helpful to people that don't have access to you immediately.
Yeah.
So it's something at some point maybe.
So we should keep
Whether it
an eye
actually
out for
comes to
that.
pass, don't keep an eye out.
But I noticed some lecturers, right? They don't want to adapt to this technological development. Some lecturers will tell you that they cannot be doing classes with Zoom. What's that? All of you must come to class, and you must come to class 7 a.m.
It
You
depends.
know,
And you have
that's
to
what
write the
what I
notes.
heard my
Yeah.
younger sister complaining about. She was like, that time, this during the strike period, so they suggested that since the lecturer was behind,
To use
you
Zoom
know,
to-
so he should use Zoom. That he said he cannot. They will wait till
Dude, wait. How about
till they call off, and all of them, he will be fixing Saturday lectures for
for
them.
them to catch up.
Like, what's
Okay.
that?
It depends. There are so many
Wow.
factors that are
Yeah.
in play there. And it depends on the course as well. There are in engineering, most of our courses are math. Have you tried to study math online? It's almost not possible. It's you need that. I need to see what you're doing. You need to see what I'm doing. Where you go wrong, I explain. Certain courses are fine. You can do online. And, maybe the technology they're not familiar with. I don't know. It depends on the person. So that may have
The
played into
the irony is this: Math 101,
Mhm.
Math 103.
Mhm.
People teaching me did not work for me, so I had to source
other people?
for online videos. That was how I
Yeah.
was able to pass those
Yeah.
courses, because in my university there was this thing that if you fail that course,
It's extra
right,
year.
you might keep writing it till you graduate. Most people, most people that, especially Maths 103. For me, I didn't do further maths in secondary
Neither
school.
did I.
So if you fail that course, you keep writing and writing. If you are lucky, after 2 seats, you pass.
If you're lucky.
So for me, that the fear of failing that course made me to
It's what
look
made
for
you to look for
Yeah.
online videos.
I think it
help
also
me out.
depends, because like in a private school, they really allow that, because I know during COVID, every lectures had to
Everybody.
hold and they were
Yes.
monitoring them. So like there's no way you would say that I'm not going to adapt, I'm not going to do this,
Yeah.
I'm not going to do that. And I think it also depends on the person, because we had another guest, a teacher, and that was even for primary school, and she was talking about how she by herself, just some of the things that you even spoke about that they are applying at university level that they are doing in primary school. And sorry. And she was just talking about how like she had to go out of her way to learn how to use technology because it makes it easier for her. So like you, at the end of the day, you're actually the one benefiting. So if you choose not to do it, you get, I think there's just that comfort of It's government's work.
Yeah,
Before they sack you in government, it's like a long process. So
that
it's
kind
like,
of thing.
you guys do what you want to do
You're
when
actually
I'm ready.
right. I think mine is a private institution as well. So when COVID hit, we had like a 2-week downtime period where the school was trying to figure out
How
how
to
we are
go
going
about
to deal with this situation. But as soon as we got Zoom, Teams, and all of that, we were like, okay, all lecturers back to lecturing. You take your class, you record your lecture, send the recording to the students as well so that they can watch it.
Was there training for this?
There was a brief training, yes. But I'm the kind of person that's always played with
Okay.
tech. I enjoy messing with all of that. So it wasn't really an issue for me. You just record your lecture, send it to everybody. But yes, there was training for all of that.
Okay,
and everybody had to comply. Even some of these lecturers that don't like it had to do it.
Yeah.
So that is one thing. But it also comes with challenges, so it's not perfect.
It has its own challenges though.
The
Can you
annoying
hear
one
me?
Even aside from network and power issues and all of that, you have situations where you're doing your lecture and students on the other end, they will just log into the class and go away.
Yeah.
I had one personal experience where students were playing FIFA in the class. You're not be looking for how to mute one or two people or send them out of the class. And, so some people may look at all of that and be like, online, no.
Yeah.
I don't want it because you don't actually, you're not seeing what's going on. But if the person on the other end wants to learn, it's a very, very useful. Just like you mentioned going out of your way to find helpful online videos to help you learn courses. You wanted to learn.
Sure.
So those things will help you.
Yeah,
But
I
if you're
think
the
it
kind
has
of
to do
person
with the
that's
mindset.
just
Mindset.
Yeah.
It's a conversation, this education thing. The person lecturing and the person learning. If both of you are not communicating, you're not willing to pay attention to the other person, it's a waste of time.
Well, lecturers paying attention to the other two students, I don't think it's something that usually happens all the time. Like in public schools now, or let me say public school.
Because of number of classes of students.
Yes. So when I schooled, we had this course GST.
Forget GST.
And we had this woman.
Students are in a GST class.
GST.
No, the thing is, for this class, obviously, the number was a lot. Maybe not as much as public schools, but it was a lot.
Which
whole
which
level.
school?
Covenant.
Covenant, okay.
Yes. So
Covenant is a very, very good school.
yes. For this woman, people will be making noise, talking in the class. She won't care.
At the podium and
She would just be talking.
And Apostle Kritos, all of them, she'll just be reading to
In fact,
herself.
that was
When she finish, she should carry her bag and go.
That was
And
what
the
was
test.
happening in my university.
And the test and
at
exam.
The time.
Will be something else.
But I think for my
Yeah.
school, you understand, they use the multipurpose auditorium for GSTs. And guess what? The hall will be packed up.
People will
And
be
half
standing.
of the students
They're
are not
outside.
even in class. Okay, I was guilty of that kind of, because I always believe GST is simple.
I really do not think so.
GST is
I was
simple. You just need
also
to
with
read,
that mindset.
Yeah, with that
study
mindset
the past
When I was
question. In
studying.
fact, when I got admission, the only thing she said, don't really bother about GST class. You just need to read it. You don't need to bother going because you will not hear anything.
Wait, was
I'm
your
confused.
GSC the same thing with all them
Exactly.
Aristotle and
Yes.
No.
Like you liked philosophy.
I did not
Nobody
like it.
like it. Oh.
I
It
did
was-
not
So
like
the thing is,
I
I
attended
actually
philosophy,
passed
but I didn't get it.
GST well. Funny enough, I only attended the class once.
Grace.
I only attended once. But because when I went, I was sitting behind. The lecturer was just doing his thing. He didn't even care.
No, but okay, from the lecturer's perspective now,
Yeah.
think of a situation. Do you know how difficult it is to teach a class of 15? It's not easy.
No.
Think you're teaching a class of 50, 100, 500. Most of the time, you're not in control of the class. No matter what you try to do.
Yes.
You spend 2 hours in a 3-hour lecture trying to get people to settle down.
Okay, that's a fair point.
So at like that your lecturer that you're saying will just come and deliver was, if you dig in, there is a story behind that. And when you hear her own side of things, you'll be
I
like,
understand.
finally, I get.
Okay.
You know, it's not easy to teach a large class.
Mm-hmm.
1-on-1, nice. 1 to 5, nice. Teaching is, you need to be able to assess whether the person is getting what you're saying as you are teaching, not till you wait for an exam. But when you're teaching a class of, once a class exceeds 40, 50, trust me, anything beyond that,
Grace of
forget
God.
it.
Well, and one of the issues, my issues with that class is that I think it was also the how audio used to be very low. She was kind of elderly, so
She could not shout.
even when you want to, you're like, okay,
Yes.
I'm here to learn.
After
You
what happened in
cannot
test
even
one.
hear. The only thing I remember hearing vividly was yes, emphatically yes. And all her questions would be true, false,
False,
yes, no,
no.
emphatically no, emphatically yes. And I don't even know if the course was hard or we're just not well taught. Because me, I used to try to go through the slides.
No,
I
you
think
can't.
for me, I think again, for students misbehaving in class, it has to do with the lecturer's personality again. Because I know that
It
I know that
depends.
It
like
depends.
there were
yeah.
large classes
That
yeah
you
for
dare
me that
not-
we use the multipurpose auditorium. It's usually packed up.
Mhm.
You see students standing, right? And you will see that class is quiet. If a pin should drop, you will hear the sound.
Yes.
Because they are scared of this lecturer. That's one. And if you don't come for the class, attendance is compulsory, you will fail the course.
So
I
if
know
you-
of
if you-
lecturers like that
yeah.
you miss one of their class, you will
You're in
fail
trouble
that
already.
course.
You see,
It's not a threat though.
it's it's a reality.
It's a
yeah.
reality.
It has to do with consequence.
Yeah, not the
So
personality.
if you don't attend, it's personality of the lecturer. Okay, that is who he is. He believes you must do these things, otherwise there will be consequences, and he sticks to it. Maybe that's the personality that
Yeah.
you're talking about. And if you check the history of that course, it's been happening.
Sure.
So students have come to accept and realize that, look, I have to behave myself here, otherwise I am in trouble. You understand? So it happens. It's just the way things are. But when you get to something like GST, where you're saying the exam is not too tough, whether you attend or you don't attend, or
Attend,
listen or
you
you
still
listen,
pass.
you will still pass, that kind of thing. You come to class and be disturbing.
Well, this case was
Yeah.
different too.
Yeah, funny
So
enough,
it
there
was
was this
different.
course we had that the man, there was a way he was like, there was a way he was, and then he can see, I don't know, for some reason he could see anything. Like, you know how you can imagine how big a
lecturers see
hall
everything.
is.
It is
Yeah.
not.
Yeah.
He'll just be like, hey, you there? Come, catch him. I don't know how he could. I think, and that made people like, you cannot try to leave his class. There's somebody there
He will
that is
stop
going
you.
to catch you and he'll bring you who like take your attendance and attendance and
Take
see
your
you.
students.
Yeah, and I
gold.
think if you didn't fish out the person, all of you around that area, you're in trouble.
Yes,
Yeah.
You
yes.
understand? You're in trouble.
Yeah.
So it's better you fish out the person to be safe.
I need to incorporate some of these
So
things.
I was going to
My
ask.
class,
I was going to ask if you've tried anything like extreme.
No.
So all your students have been good.
No. Tough question.
Yeah, they've been okay. You get situations where they misbehave, but you manage it. You deal with it. You will try not to take things to the extreme,
Yeah.
because once you take things to the extreme, you kind of alienate some of them. And once that happens, you've lost them.
Yeah.
There is nothing you say that they listen to. So as much as you try to be like, this is wrong, you still joke with them, and like I had one experience where a student was playing Candy Crush. Like this thing you were saying about lecturers seeing everything, you see everything. You stand in front of a class and you are saying something. If somebody is not listening to you, you know.
You know. Yeah.
Trust me, you know. Like somebody's on their phone or somebody's doing something or discussing with somebody next to him, you know.
So
But
when you're
the question
feeling sharp,
is,
they
how do
actually
you
know.
want to deal with it?
Sure.
You don't deal with everything. Sometimes you be like, let me
Yeah.
focus on those that are
Things,
paying
yeah.
attention. As much as possible, you try to bring everyone in. Maybe you look for one sort of joke and crack that, get everybody engaged and that kind of thing. So it happens. There was a student playing, was it Candy Crush or something, in the middle of my lecture. You would take like 5 minutes and joke and, call the person to come and solve one question on the board. You will stand up. I don't know what to do. But you're playing Candy Crush in my class. I mean, the whole class will laugh. You just need to find a way to deal with it. And it's been part of the learning experience.
Yeah.
When I started, I may send you out of the class, which ultimately didn't help.
Yeah.
You just need to find ways to deal with it. But you see everything, 100%. I can assure you of that.
They're always watching.
They're always. Whether we are watching or not, if you're explaining something and somebody, like, you're more sensitive to disruption.
Yeah.
Once one person just, it's like, you can.
Is that like whole lecturers or just you?
Everybody.
I think.
Yeah, like even you, if you
Everybody
stand and
sees
you're
it.
presenting somebody, if imagine everybody's looking your way and somebody just like even they move or you can tell.
Even whether the person, it's not even about looking at you. If somebody may be looking at you but not paying attention to you, you can tell from the person's expression.
Right.
Yes. I think that's why
Get
my mom,
like a few people and maybe be gisting or be talking about something.
And somebody has zoned out.
zoned. Yeah.
Sure.
You can tell immediately.
My
So
mom,
the question is,
was
how
a
do you deal
teacher.
with that?
Bro, I never
My mom was a
thought about
teacher.
that.
She will tell you, she will say, everything you people are doing, I'm seeing. I'm just acting to be blind so that you people will not
How
give
many
me
things will you pay attention to? Mhm.
She'll say, I see everything and I hear everything. At times, I just act like I'm deaf
Yeah.
and blind.
I think that's something that just comes with like experience.
Yeah. Because you even waste time if you're trying to speak out everybody and
time,
everything.
And like I was saying earlier, you kind of lose your train of thought as well. You're like,
Mhm.
Sure.
what was that? Now people now have to remind you what you were saying before your
Then
class
before you get back
continues,
in the
before you
flow.
get back.
So, on a general note, what would you say is one of the major challenges we face in education in Nigeria at the university level?
Give me, will I say context, like in terms of
Just
curriculum?
for you, from your perspective, for me, I feel like one of the issues, just relating, obviously from a student's perspective, I feel like one of them is not people that are not really, they've not really gotten the education that they need.
Okay.
So they come into the system and then it's kind of like a struggle. So you can actually tell that this person, yes, so they finished, they have their certificate, their WAEC, but you can see that they are struggling to actually meet up and to just learn, just like even at the barest minimum.
In Nigeria,
Yeah.
it is a very, very big problem
Mm-hmm.
because we have this way that everything goes at anyhow we go do things will move, which is not good. So you end up with situations where somebody's coming into a system for education and the person doesn't have the minimum requirements. The person cannot even communicate with you.
Yeah.
The person cannot understand what you're trying to say.
Mm-hmm.
It's a big problem that needs to be addressed. And if you ask me, as much as we are trying to address it from our own end, finding ways to engage with people, finding ways to come to your level, to carry you along, extra classes, open office, come with any questions, things like that. Even if it's not me that taught you, come, let's just try and get you going. We need to change the culture where people take things seriously at the right time. Because it's not like it didn't affect me as well. There are certain things we learned after the stage we were supposed to learn it. That's relating to education, certain topics, certain concepts that we learned after the fact, which is not right. Learn things when you're supposed to learn things so that when you get to where you want to teach you something, you have the capacity to take it and then build upon it. So it's a problem. It needs fixing, and it's not the education system per se. It's the entire mindset of Nigerians. It's cut across so many areas.
Okay.
You're right, yeah. It needs sorting out.
Okay.
That's nice.
I think that's a lot because there's a lot of things. I'm kind of passionate about education and the whole learning experience. So in terms of
Have you considered going into lecturing before?
no, I haven't. I don't think I have.
Funny
the
enough,
patience.
yesterday I was telling Ope that I think you would be a good lecturer.
Yeah, she told no, I can't. I don't think I'll be a good lecturer because I don't think I have the patience for
That
because-
is what will probably make you a good lecturer.
Yeah.
how.
Yeah.
You will find a way to deal with that impatience.
Yeah.
But the not being patient with people will drive you to kind of it will shape your profile or your personality or whatever as a lecturer. You will deal with it.
But it's not all
But
lecturers
it
that
will
deal with
make
it, though.
you a good lecturer. You know.
At the end
I don't
of
know.
the
I don't
day,
know how
at the
to
end of the
explain
day, it will you see you learn to be patient.
Ope for lecturer.
No, I won't be. No, I can't be.
You learn to be patient.
No, because even in class, there are some things that some of my mates will do, and the
Yeah,
lecturer
and
would like let it slide, and I'll be like,
Really?
"Did you how?
Did you not see that?
Didn't you see what just happened?" Because if it's me, I'll be like, "No, something has
You're
to
out.
happen. No, something has to
Maybe
happen."
because
You
you're
will
not the
learn-
one
you will
wearing
learn
the
to deal with
shoes.
all those
Yeah.
things.
You're not
You
the
will learn
one
to
wearing
deal
the
with all
shoes.
those
So when you
learn
wear the
to-
shoes and
yeah,
become a lecturer,
you
will
learn
know.
to deal with it because when you keep shouting and shouting, at some
It's-
point
it's-
you'll be
it's
like,
like-
yeah, like just like
you
you
will,
said,
you will lose your
driving-
audience.
yeah,
And once students, even before they meet you, feel that this is the kind of person you are,
Mm.
you've lost them even before they get to you.
Your
Yeah.
reputation goes before you.
and there are some that would want to try you to see how you
your
react.
limits.
No,
It's not some. They are always doing that. They always want to see how far they can push you, how far they can
yes.
stretch certain things. It will always happen.
Mm.
But it's not like they will try you as make a see what you do. That kind of.
So
Everybody's
people might be
different.
like
If you try me, guy, we'll deal with you as you want it.
That's
you know?
interesting. But
So,
going back to what you said about sustainable engineering, like you're interested in sustainable engineering.
okay, yeah.
Yes. So I wanted to ask, there has been a lot of news going on about buildings collapsing, especially in Lagos and things like that. Initially, I was going to ask if that's what drove you into sustainable engineering. But yeah,
It may have been one of the things,
okay.
but there's been this focus on sustainability for a while.
Yeah.
Carbon
Global,
emissions,
yes.
environmental
Yeah.
degradation, all of
Yeah.
that. So when you come to like research now, almost everything needs to have that sustainability consideration. It may not be the primary thing you're focusing on, but it has to be, you won't just research something that will make the environment worse.
Yeah.
You may also need to look into how you manage things to. So it's one thing that is everywhere. So why not incorporate it into everything that you are looking into?
Okay.
So like I'm primarily into building structures. So we look at materials, we look at building technologies, we look at techniques, we look at design strategies that try to cut down on some of these carbon emissions, wastage, even construction management practices that manage materials to just be sustainable. Don't be wasteful because resources are finite. No matter what they look like now, there's oil everywhere. They will run out at some point. So now, what do those people of that time do? How do they provide for their needs? So the whole, focus on sustainability now is just to make sure we can provide for ourselves, and then future generations can provide for themselves without issue. So it's everywhere. I don't think there's anybody that's doing anything that will not be focusing on sustainability in one way or another. A colleague of mine that is into biomass, mechanical engineer, he has developed printer ink from there's this organic material. I've forgotten the name. It's a waste. So you kind of blend it, pass it through. Is it pyrolysis? There are certain processes and techniques you use to convert printer inks. He showed me something that they printed. You can't distinguish it from normal something. It was manufactured from a waste material that you normally don't. So everybody is looking at it in one way or another. Some way. So
There are
it's
whole
very,
companies now that are dedicated to just recycling and reusing things.
reusing things.
I came across a documentary kind of, and someone that's into recycling was that recycling does more harm or it's more expensive.
Really?
Yeah, I was quite surprised that it's more
I
expensive to recycle. I can't really remember what he went into.
I think more like it takes more effort, but I think overall it's worth it because there are certain things that are not biodegradable.
Yeah.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
You have to find a way to deal with them, or
Yeah.
else at some point, what you're thinking is more expensive now will end up being even worse down the line.
Yeah.
So if you don't deal with things at source, it becomes a problem later. More expensive, more of an issue, you know. So maybe more effort. Yes, true. Because it's easier to just go from source when you can get the raw material,
Yeah.
make your stuff, than think of how you would take something that's already been
Process
used,
it.
reprocess it to something useful. And personally, I think however you want to recycle things, you end up with an even worse waste, if that makes any sense.
Okay.
But the worse waste you get, maybe smaller in volume, it's easier to deal with, something like that.
Okay.
I'm not into recycling. I don't know much about all of that, but that's what I think goes
Because if you
on.
recycle that thing, can you still recycle it again?
Probably, they'll get
I don't
It
know.
depends.
a
Like some
point.
people, there's one I saw that they use slippers. There's the one with tires that they use tires and as decorations. There's also one I saw they use slippers like Dunlop slippers. They use
From
it
rubber.
for and then
Yeah.
also for like wall
Even ceramic
art.
tiles, all these
Yes.
waste tiles,
Mhm.
we can recycle them and use them some way in
Yeah.
construction.
So I understand.
as they are.
Yeah.
So it's part of what we are looking at in building materials.
Okay.
How we can reuse some of these things that are waste materials in what we are doing. you
Okay.
know?
Then also, you said that you guys do draw or construction or you look at drawings.
What do you mean drawing? Structural
Like,
drawing.
yes,
Yeah,
for
yeah.
you guys create.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I was like, initially, my thought was, when you said that, I was like, what about the architects? So is there like
There are different architects are focused on the look,
Yeah, the design.
Okay.
aesthetics, functionality. Like there is a way you position your structure.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It's easier to cool.
Okay.
Ventilation, which part does the sun take during the day?
Yeah.
Mhm.
What kind of windows you use. Like in the UK, we use double glazed, triple glazed, because it filters out the radiation, so you feel less
Okay.
heat inside. So architects deal with functionality of the building. Engineers deal with actually getting the building to stand. You
Okay.
understand?
Mhm.
So like an architect will say, okay, the room is this size, the heights, the location, positioning. The engineer will deal with, okay, the column needs to be this strong. I need to have this much reinforcement
Yeah.
to avoid collapse. You understand?
What about in cases where can you have conflict between both
Yes.
parties?
Architects and engineers.
Because I'm
Are you
like,
serious?
it now
Yes.
sounds like
There will always be the back and forth. An
Yeah.
architect may
Okay.
want something to be this large or this thing. The engineer will tell you it's not possible.
Possible. Yeah.
It's pleasing to the eyes, but it won't.
Yeah, it won't
yeah.
work. We have to change something. And the
Yeah.
architect will be like, no.
You want to spoil my
So-
design and things like that.
So in
That
cases
is
where
what-
there are buildings that collapse,
Mm.
who is at fault?
There are so many.
People
People are
at fault,
Involved.
including
Yes.
the bodies that are meant to regulate these buildings.
There are so many phases that go into setting up structures like
Okay.
that. And you may have situations where everybody did the right thing, but there are, no matter how much you try, you can't get something perfect.
Mhm.
That's why we always try to make a room for
Margin of error.
margin of
Errors,
error, that kind of thing. So I won't say somebody in particular is at fault. I won't say nobody is at fault. It may be that somebody neglected something they should have done. It may be
Mhm.
that somebody did not check something that should have been checked.
Sure.
Sometimes when all this building collapse, what we hear, I'm not saying that's what actually happened, is that the
Okay.
structure was initially designed for a particular purpose. And then
Yeah,
somebody
when they
tried to
propose the-
change it to make, I'm not saying that's what is happening, but there are things that go wrong. But if everything is done right, you shouldn't have a case of building collapse. Every structure has a life cycle.
Okay.
No structure lasts forever.
Yeah.
If you design like roads, bridges, they are designed for like 30 years, 50 years. If you go
Hmm.
into town, they are scraping a lot of the roads in
Yes,
the various
um,
areas and resurfacing them because they have
Okay.
expired.
I had no idea
Yeah.
about this.
So in that situation, everything is working as it should. So you will never come into a situation where you say road done, pothole, and all of those things because everything is done as they should be. Even buildings don't last forever.
What about all those
Let's say
buildings
maybe
in the UK that are like 100 years old?
you have historical structures that you
Mhm.
don't touch, you don't modify, you don't tweak in any way. They are preserved by the community. But maybe after some time, they go, we can maintain structures,
Mhm.
you know. So the right practice is followed. So you have less cases of failure. You
Okay.
understand? But our problem in Nigeria is maintenance culture.
Yeah.
So
See our stage.
imagine trying to maintain a structure that's meant to last for 30 years, for example,
Mhm.
and you're trying to extend the life for another 20 years. There are certain things you need to go into. You need to assess the structural integrity of the structure first, then determine what you need to do to kind of enable it last another 20 years. We probably will never do it in this country. Somebody will just come, break this wall, build this thing here, put another room here, all those little things because you want more space.
Yeah.
You don't know you are killing the structure as a whole.
By adding more.
Sure.
Any
And Grace, it
is like-
seems
it
you
is
know a
like
bit
surgery.
about this
I know a
field.
bit
any alteration you make to a structure affects it. Every structure is designed intentionally. Like if an architect brings a drawing, this is what I want to do. The engineer will go in, okay, I'll column, calculate all of the loads coming, determine the size, how much reinforcement, even the quality of concrete. Concrete has different strengths from 5 all the way up to a few hundred. So if you design a structure for 25 or 30, and then it's not strong enough, the structure will collapse. That kind of thing. So there are lots of considerations that go into setting up a structure. So once you start to mess with it and you don't understand what you are doing, it's a recipe for disaster.
So does that mean if you want to make any modifications in your house, you
Find a
have to get
structural
some?
engineer.
Sure.
If you want to be
For
safe.
some people, just like you
Some
said, I just need extra space. This bathroom can just
Exactly.
be destroyed. Let's make it a
And
room. They'll just
you go and call an architect now. They'll just put iron, without really understanding that this load you are applying here has affected the entire bending moment distribution. Because we have what we call bending moments. That's how we determine how a structure is going to deform or what load is going where in the structure. So once you break something, get the reinforcement and extend something, you've changed the whole behavior of that entire section. So if the rest of the structure was not designed to handle that, things will, if you see crack in your building, guys, something is wrong. Something is moving in a way that is not supposed to be moving.
Sure. I know of someone that
So there are
at a time he started tweaking his house. And funny enough, that time I happened to be working with somebody that was into construction and whatever. I enjoy going to these sites, even though I have nothing to do there. But for me, it's an avenue for me to learn.
Yeah.
So, and I was telling this person, I said, the way they do this thing, your house will end up cracking. Funny enough, the house is cracked.
Cracking is the first sign that
Like
there's a problem.
in different places. And I was like, if you are not done this thing, I said because they this thing, the design of the house, the structure, it has a mass and a weight, and you are not adding
More load.
to it. Of course, you experience all these things.
It's not even just the load of the structure itself, the load of the use of the structure.
Of the structure, yeah.
It's if you see all these calculations, you will understand. There is no engineer that will just go in anyhow and alter a structure. Even if you do the alteration, you do it with the knowledge of the original design. And then you make like an informed alteration.
So where does creativity now come into the whole process of civil engineering? Because I just look at engineering as, bro, you're just doing math. So
No. Creativity is like you're working with the architect now, for example, to do things in certain ways to achieve some other objective. There are so many ways to do the same thing. You want to design a structure, you want to design a beam, columns. Like there are so many ways to do it. There are so many techniques you can use. So as when we train civil engineers, we teach you so many ways of doing the same thing. So when you're now in a situation like that, maybe the client tells you this is what I want. The architect is like, this is what we are trying to do. So you will now call on your knowledge and be like, okay, we can take advantage of this to give you what you want. You understand that kind of thing. So it's creativity in the terms of knowledge meets, ability to put things together, like is it problem solving, that kind of thing. So there is quite some creativity in it.
I feel like I'm a civil engineer.
I was just about to say that the whole
They should come and give me
bevel
BSc.
load, everything. Did I get it right?
You don't mean it. How good are you with math?
I'm good at math, but I see further maths. I don't even do further maths, but the way I saw it, it's okay. Like,
Further math class.
Further
that-
math is easy.
SS1, you have 50 students. Everybody, you see some people outside
Oh,
the
was it
class.
optional?
Yeah, it was optional. So you have like 50 students outside the class. I knew of a guy during the class. He just saw the scheme of work. And that was the last time he came for the class. SS1, you see 50 students in class. People are standing, people are sitting on the table, everything. SS3, people are lying down on the... people are setting chairs. You see someone lying down on 5 chairs. So, further maths is actually quite...
Funny enough, that further math that you think is so difficult at that stage is basic
Yeah.
for
Primary.
engineering.
Yeah.
And that's exactly why I can't do it.
Basic for engineering.
You know what scared me from doing further maths in secondary school was because you always said it's hard. And
That negative impression.
once you just say something is hard, I don't even want to go and see for myself whether it's hard or not. I just want to.
Actually, it may just be that. It may not be that the course is so difficult, but just the way
when-
perception.
Maths
they
103 is actually further maths.
Further maths, yeah.
So
When you do it,
when I started doing
Where
this,
is it?
in fact, I started that course with the concept of it's hard. At some point, I have to talk to myself. I say, is it not the same maths that I used to?
Mhm.
It's not even
Very
that difficult now. That was when I started seeing things in a new light. Like, this is not even that difficult. What am I saying is hard?
Just because of what other people have said.
The
I
main
was like,
thing
if
is
I knew I would have done further maths in
in
secondary
secondary
school.
school, at that point, you wanted to learn.
Yeah.
So you were more open to that difficult thing to enter my head. You will learn it.
Yeah.
But maybe secondary school, a lot of us, secondary school was where we just
Come on.
do finish work, they go where they
Apart
go.
from that, I think the teacher that was taking the course in secondary school, people didn't really like
Forget that
him.
thing.
So they were always scared of him.
Forget that thing. If the same teacher ended up teaching you Maths 103, you will still understand it.
So I think I beg to differ because, like my course now, economics, I always say this anywhere. Mr. Takwe, God bless you. SS1, I was actually an art student before. When my father had then. I became a commercial student. I started economics in my SS1. I hated it. When I got to my SS2, they switched the teachers because we're preparing for a foreign exam.
Okay.
And the way, there was an
That
experience
guy
that
was
happened to
teaching
me.
you.
But his approach and everything, the first teacher would just come to class, just talk about this. But the second teacher will come, give examples, real life examples. For me, what I'm trying to say is, I think lecturers, apart from teaching, you also have, I'm not telling you guys what to do, but you also have the role of...
No, it's fine. Like some of these things you guys are saying, I will actually end up taking them
Okay.
back to what I'm
So now students, you owe me one.
lecturer.
I
Okay, just
disagree.
accept it.
No, so for me, I feel lecturers or teachers should be able to inspire the people that they are teaching. Because if there's something I want to do, right, and I don't really know about it, apart from just coming to gain knowledge about it, what else is going to push me to want to learn? I know of scenarios or people who, by just meeting a certain lecturer, maybe just their personality or how they took the course, they were able to open up the subject to the students in a different way. So teaching helps you to see two people can teach you the same thing. but it's first the way they
Delivered.
see the thing,
Yeah.
and it's the way
The
they
way
help
they
other
pass
people
on
to
the
see it.
knowledge.
Like now, you said when you were teaching people in uni or your undergrad, like you're like, bro, it's just straightforward now.
Yeah.
It's just like this. But that person is like,
I
bro,
don't
I
get
just
it.
don't get it.
I can't see beyond I can't really see what you're talking
Yeah.
about. So I feel like for lecturers, there needs to be this form of inspiration teaching. I don't know. I feel something like every teacher should like just incorporate into their own teaching method. I know you're going to have students that do not care about school because they've heard school is calm. But for that teaching people and inspiring people, I think it actually plays a very, very, very important role and everything. But moving beyond that, I think another thing that I'm interested in is research. So how do you go about collaborating with other teachers? Because for us now, our undergrad projects, God helped us. The only collaboration
it
I
was
did
because
was
of project that I was like, I don't want to do masters. My mind
Are you
has
serious?
changed, but because of project, I was
Project is
like,
the fun part of education.
Yeah. For me, I think
that
project
is the
was
goal of education.
project was
you know,
fun.
This is what I know. This is what I can do with what I've learned.
Yeah.
I loved my topic. I looked at public relations as from the nurse's perspective. Like, if you go to a hospital and the nurse treats you badly, like,
Yeah.
would you leave the hospital or would you still come back? Because the nurse represents the whole organization, more or less. And it was fun. I really enjoyed it. And it was just because I just went to the hospital
Got
one
to
day and,
interview
you know,
people.
I enjoyed it. But still, that chapter 4 and 5,
Able to discuss what you found out now.
But
I know.
project was fun.
That is fun.
It was fun. First of all, for me, it was a blessing in disguise.
Mm.
Tell us more.
Tell us.
I didn't like my project supervisor at first.
Yeah.
So the audacity I had to even go and meet him to tell him, sir, reject me.
Are you serious?
I said, sir, please reject me. He said, why? I said, because I didn't choose you.
In certain schools, that project, you know, we finish that.
Honestly, oh.
No matter
You
who
know,
they are
so
assigned
many
to.
people were like, hey, I had guts to even go and meet him to tell him, reject me. I say, yes, reject me. He said, ah. To him, I think it was even the audacity. You know?
Okay, you
He
know how
was
to
like,
respond.
so who did you
You be
choose?
shook.
I was like, I chose Professor Dr. Tushak and Professor Amuga. He said, yeah, really? Okay. Go and meet them and ask them if they can accept you. Or go to the project coordinator's office and tell him to change your project supervisor. And I went there with all audacity.
Was it a trap?
I said, sir, please, I
Sounds
want
like a
to
setup.
It sounds like
They will
it's
change you. There are
He said,
certain things
sir,
you
please,
think
I
are
want you to
unacceptable.
change my project supervisor. He said, why? I said, because I don't want to do anything under biochemistry.
That's a good reason.
Yeah, actually,
That's a
valid
good
point.
Okay, go off the lecturer's
Like,
focus.
Yes.
I am a project
Okay.
coordinator. So students can come to you and say, I'm not interested in this aspect. And this
Yeah.
is what this lecturer is focusing on.
And this
I want to
person
work
can
more
help
on
me
this.
better.
That sounds valid.
You know,
He
we actually
said-
take that
He
before
said,
we assign
he said, okay.
Okay.
All right. He said, okay, go and meet Professor Amuga. Ask him if he will accept you. Initially, he was my project supervisor before they now changed the
Shall
list
we
again.
assign?
Oh,
So I now went, I said, sir, I was one of your students, but they've pushed me to another lecturer.
lecturer.
So how are we going to do this thing? He said, okay, go and tell him that he should reject you. I will accept you. I went back to the man. He said, I am not rejecting you. Funny enough. So it's either you work with me or you forget about it. I said, but I don't want to do it. I said, me, I want you to see the light.
So now I wanted you.
He said, you don't want me, but me, I want you. So you will do this thing. You know, but I was grumbling doing the project initially. But then he gave me a topic. I looked at it. I said, I'm not doing this thing. I changed the topic and I took it back to him. I said, in fact, what do you love? Initially, that time I started um selling a product on fertility, right? Is a common fruit. I don't know if you know Gorontula.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
So
We don't know it, but
the
okay,
no,
tell me.
no,
botanical
it's not
the
a thing about men
botanical
and
name
women. It's
is
just a
Azanza gakinia. So at the end of the day, I said, okay, I changed the topic. Initially, I wanted to do on general fertility. He now said, no, let's take it to male dysfunction. How can this thing? I say, well, I'm telling this thing and I'm liking it. So why not let's do the research now? Let's see if this thing works.
Actually makes a difference.
So we now started collaborating. It was fun. He was loving the thing. I was loving the whole project thing. So other people even had to tap into the topic and do other parts of
Parts of the work.
the work, how it affects the liver, how it affects the kidney. Some people took that part.
That's a very,
He
very
said
good
no.
one.
I said no. I said me
Inspiring
is that
change.
male
Change your life.
dysfunction gone I want to do. Don't change my topic, sir. He say it's me that brought topic. Oh. Don't change it.
You
Was
want to
something
work
you
on that
wanted to
aspect,
do.
like something, yeah.
You understand?
You know,
So,
project.
but it was fun. At the end
Yeah.
of the day, we got good results.
Mm.
Yeah, and I'm happy. While I was convincing people, buy this thing, it's actually something that actually worked. So at some point, we had to publish
That's nice.
I
that
published
project.
it.
Yes.
That's
That's
very,
nice.
very
Lovely
Meanwhile,
for you.
he's
Say lovely
doing
for
he's
you.
doing further work on it,
on it, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
which was great.
Project is a meeting point between what you are interested in and how much people understand about that particular issue.
Yeah.
If the interest from you is not there, no matter how great the topic or the work is, you will hate the project work.
Sure.
But if you genuinely want to know something about something, all you need to do is follow the research process.
Of course.
Get
And
your findings, submit your results. And that is it.
at the end of the day, do you know, I was grateful I did not even work with that
The other
professor.
person, yeah.
Interesting.
Because his students were now like,
We didn't actually do anything in the end.
he was kind of a visiting lecturer in my school. So
Oh,
he
I
didn't
can
really
imagine.
have
You won't have
their
access to
time like
Yeah.
that. So, but this other one was patient. Dr. Omoniwa,
And I
if
can
you are
assure you
listening
that
to this, he
that
was patient. He goes to the this thing, animal this thing with you. He goes to help you check your animals. You are not feeding this one well, oh, you can't do this thing like this. Like it was fun. It was fun. So
There
we
was-
actually we ended up working as groups. Even though you are working on different stuff, like
Yeah.
it was
there
a
was
beautiful
genuine interest
experience.
from you, the
Interest,
lecturer.
yeah.
And once people see that there is promise in something, other people will want to key in.
Yeah.
What can we bring in to make this even better?
Yeah.
It's difficult to come up with ideas.
Sure.
But once you have a good idea, there is always something you can do to improve upon it.
Yeah.
I
So
think
that's just it.
one of my
Yeah.
discouragement was the fact that I had to work with lab rats. In my head, I'm like, I don't even like animals, for heaven's sake. What?
Love rats.
Wow. So
But
just
it was fun.
thank you. As we wrap up, so I just want to ask, let's talk about ASU strike. I mean, I guess it affects
Has
you
there been an ASU strike?
in recent times.
Yeah.
I think they've tried. There has.
Yeah.
I think
When-
Somebody
last
was
year.
telling me that the strike. I don't know if it was
Now?
just
Now,
UJ.
it's
If it
non-academic
was
staff.
just if it's
and
just an
senior staff.
internal strike.
Yeah, I think it
Or-
was University of Just. I think I saw something
Yeah.
about
Yeah.
that
Strike,
the students were locked out or something.
Wow.
So I heard.
Yeah. But yeah, like times when there has been strike, how has that affected you? And then like how have you seen it affect students?
I don't really have so much experience with strike because, like, I'm primarily in a private university. We don't
Yeah,
have strike.
yeah.
There is no, the school doesn't
Yeah.
close. We do 3 semesters a year. So we are always around. But I also teach in Uni Abuja as well. And whenever there's strike, the school kind of closes down
Oh,
until school resumption. Everybody hates it. Lecturers hate it. Students hate it. It disrupts everything.
Yeah.
Even ongoing research. When you resume, you
Yeah.
basically have to restart the
Start
whole thing again. So it's not fun for anybody. It's not nice. It's not good. As for effect on students, nobody likes it. Nobody
Yeah.
wants to strike. Everybody just wants to get on with their education and
Yeah.
go and do
Do
other things.
fast and
Because
finish.
it's not all about school. School is just
If it is.
a phase. Learn what you need to learn and go on to other things. You don't
Yeah.
want to spend too many years in school.
We'll start business and come back to school again.
Mhm.
Sure.
There's somebody I
I
know
was
that
one of those people that
Really?
during ASU strike, they also continues. I will do my stuff. When school starts, I'll say, in fact, it's as if they are disrupting my business.
yeah, exactly. Like this person,
Like,
that's what it
why?
was for them. School now became like a distraction because I've set up my business. Everything is going well. It's doing
I'm
well.
happy, I'm
Like,
comfortable.
it's okay. I'm not even interested again.
But I think something I got to find out in like final year. So I'm this kind of person that never thought I'll be able to build relationships with my lecturers. Because I'm just like, I come to
Likewise.
class,
Yeah.
we just do our thing.
you are one of those people.
Yeah, so well done, sir.
We are together.
I did not understand how people would just, I'm going to Dr.
Yeah,
this
this
person's office
office.
after
Yeah.
school.
Like,
and just,
I could never
and
do
be
that.
there for hours. I'm like, what
What
Are you talking about?
about?
I know 2 hours of class is not enough for you. So
I just
No,
could not
I could
relate.
understand, but lecturers know those students. When I was starting my PhD, we had this interview because we always have to have an interview. We had an interview, just who is the person that wants to come and work with us? What are his
Okay.
abilities? And is he even qualified? That kind of thing. So my supervisor will be like, I know you now. You're this student that will just sit in class, listen to the lecture, mind your
Understand,
business, and
and
go.
pass your
No
exams.
force, no problem, no disturbance of any kind. I was like, so you notice, that kind of thing.
Mhm.
Now that I'm on the other end, we do notice. you have the students that will always come to your office, and
Yeah.
we enjoy it.
Mm.
As a lecturer, you don't just want to be
Yeah,
all
now having people
business.
around. Yeah.
Yes.
You want people to come and disturb you and laugh. I have students that come, and so you have them. You have those that mind their business.
Mhm.
So they are all sorts. They're all there.
But how is it like being someone that for his undergrad was like, I do my day, you do your day,
Mm.
then going into lecturing now? How do you build relationships with? Have you seen the experience of building relationships with students?
It helps the teaching process.
Okay.
Mm,
They are more open with you.
yeah.
And when somebody is open with you, they get to talk about themselves, their experiences. In fact, what they want out of education in the first
Mhm.
place.
Mhm.
So it will also help feed into how
How you teach.
you teach whatever it is you want to teach. So
Okay.
it's very, very helpful. And all you need to do is make yourself open to it.
Yeah.
Be approachable. Be the kind of person that students are not afraid to come and see.
Mm.
And not from your point of view, from their point of view. Give them that impression that they can always come to you.
Yeah.
And when they come to you, it helps the entire thing. They are more comfortable. You are more comfortable. Everybody's happier.
Mhm.
So you don't really have to do anything special per se. Over time, it becomes part of you.
Mhm.
There is something I still believe in it strongly, that profession and personality cannot be separated.
Okay.
Yeah.
No matter what
Yeah, yeah.
you
I
study, no
agree.
matter what you want to do, who you are shines through in what you do.
Mm-hmm.
Then, as you do something, what is expected of that influences who you become or who you are. There is that coming together of the two.
Yeah.
Understand that kind of thing. So, whether you're the kind of person that used to consciously try to build relationship for people to come to you, as you work, as you are in the profession, over time, it just becomes who you are.
Mm-hmm.
People will eventually see that they can come to you. Those that want to come to you will come to you. It's one of those things. It grows over time. It develops.
Okay.
Okay.
Then just lastly, since you schooled in the UK, what's your thoughts about the whole Jackpot
Yeah.
thing going on right now?
I feel like you're for it. Are you for it? No comment.
Or even professionals going abroad, students going abroad.
The atmosphere is different. It feels like, because I studied it feels like I know a lot about a lot of things, and the opportunity to put those things into practice don't present themselves here.
Yeah.
So it's if you study abroad and you come back, it sort of feels like, let me not say a waste, it's a bit harsh, but it kind of feels like that. If I were there, I could be doing much more. You understand that kind of thing? So Jabba also comes with people are frustrated with life.
Problems in Nigeria.
You know, things are not working. People want better. It's not that when you go abroad, everything is rosy. You still work your ass off, but you are seeing results. You know, quality of life is overall better. So if you have the opportunity, yes.
You're for it. So you're right. You know, I thought you were going to.
I wouldn't say patriotic, don't worry. If you have the opportunity, go for it. But there's a certain level of comfort you will have here.
Yeah, no place like home.
Yeah.
It's if you can provide your needs here and you are okay, I think you will enjoy staying here. But when you are still struggling, trying to carve something out for yourself, nothing seems to be working. And you find something outside. Go. Think of it as go, walk, learn, grow, earn something, then you can
experience
come back.
something new.
That would be friend. I wish I can tell this to my friend.
Really?
Like in our 200, in our 200 level, we're having this discussion about the whole Jackpot going abroad. I don't even think it was a serious thing at that time. So I was like, bro, there's nothing bad in anybody going outside to school. I said, no, if you go abroad, you're not patriotic, you do not like this country.
There are some people like that too that can fight you. Like, why can't you stay in Nigeria? How Nigeria be better?
Yes,
like, fine and good. We have brain drain. We have issues like that, but some people just can't. Like, lights. Like, why don't I have lights?
Why?
I don't have that. That's a loan. It's like, okay, I pay tax every month. I pay tax, but I cannot see where it's going
Pay a
to.
lot of
Roads are bad.
Yes.
The basic things of life sometimes are not there. So it can just frustrate you. At least let me go. I can use the train. I can, just have
it feels so comfortable, especially with the way it's presented on social media. So at the end of the day, my bro was preparing to write GMAT last year.
Are you serious?
I said, bro, what's up now? I thought you have a future.
That's why in life, don't follow anybody.
Some people are actually, like my colleague in the office, he's like, it's not going anywhere. What is he going outside? Everything is fine here.
Everything is fine.
He's
okay,
doing
that up to this month was he saying that?
Yeah.
Okay.
He's doing okay. He's fine. He's happy. Unless the country burns down, he's not going anywhere. Some people are like that.
Yeah.
But some people are just they're fed up. So it depends on your experiences when you've seen up to this point.
So, but regardless, for me, I'll say that just if you can, like, I feel like you should go. Just have the experience, even if you're just going there for school.
Yeah.
Just the exposure that it gives to you.
It changes your mind. It changes the way you look at things.
Yeah.
And like in my institution, a lot of our staff studied abroad. I would say maybe more than 70% of our staff studied abroad. UK, US, Malaysia, Greece, all countries all over the world. So when you bring all of that and we are kind of discussing, you see that the way people reason is different. And you appreciate that. It brings that sense of things are working, things are progressing, So the experience is necessary. Go out, see what is obtainable. Then when you come back, you can at least incorporate a little bit of what you've learned into what it is you want. Definitely.
But how different is it abroad being a lecturer than here?
I've not lectured abroad. I was a teaching assistant. So the
Okay.
lecturer was in charge and you just do what you are told, something like that.
Okay.
But I think if I were to guess, there is a bit more demand on, let's say, excellence, pushing the boundary. Like, do something that hasn't been done before or something like that. So everybody's curious.
Okay.
Yeah, I love that.
Here, it's more like everybody's happy with status quo. just teach me what it is. Let me
Yes.
know
Mhm.
and
Be
go.
going. Yeah.
That drive to push the boundaries of what is possible is not quite as much here. So I think that may affect, the lecturing side of things. But I don't know. Someone else may have a different experience.
So,
Okay.
so if I would ask, what do you think the government can do to improve lecturing in Nigeria, the student teacher relationship, like infrastructure,
Salary.
salary, and all that?
First things first, put the right people in the right places.
Mm.
Without
Yeah.
that, you can't even have a conversation on what needs to be done to improve certain things. When you have people in the right places, then you can start to focus on like knowledge. It said people have to meet a certain requirement to be trained to do certain things.
Mhm.
Then you now focus on training the teachers.
Mhm.
Teach them about mentality of children, because when we grew up, the things we considered important is different from what people consider important now.
Sure.
In my lecture, sometimes we'll be cracking jokes about Game of Thrones or the latest TikTok trend or the latest whatever on Twitter, things like that.
Yeah.
All of that gets students to connect with you
Mhm.
before you can start to teach. There is a lot that can be done. We know all of these things. We know all of these strategies. We just need to be willing to put them in place. We've started. There are steps that have been taken. It's a long journey. It's not what you do in a day, in 2 weeks. But once the right people are there to support the right ideas, we'll make progress.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you
It's
very
been
much.
such a great conversation. I promised you guys, I said this, that we're going to have a great conversation.
Yes.
And it has been wonderful. I'm now an engineer.
Yes.
Don't come
Our
for me.
fellow
I'm joking.
engineers.
Engineer Joanna.
So thank you. It sounds nice, Sha. Thank you so much. Does anyone have last comments, any takeouts you want to share with us?
Where's everybody?
Ope should be a lecturer.
Yeah.
I should
That's
no,
that's
at
the
that point,
conclusion.
no, that one can't fly.
Why not? We can start you with intro to economics.
Do you know, I would say like in my final year that after what I saw on the board, I was just in one class like, I can't do this thing for masters. I can't do it. So my friends are doing economics for masters. More grace to your elbow. But
By the time you start it, you realize that there's nothing. These are things you've done. These are things you know. Somebody's just telling it to you in a different way.
Yeah.
That's true. That's true. But I think for me, it's getting to see the perspective of a lecturer.
Yeah.
Because being a student, you can't really tell what's going on
The other end.
on that end.
Yeah.
So it's easy for you to just look at things from your own perspective, from your own world and how you see things. So
there's a complete
disconnect.
Yeah, I love it.
shift.
Yeah.
Between you're right.
So I'm glad I got to not only hear about it, but to kind of share in the experience of what it means. And I think there are a lot of other things I've learned. Like there are just a whole lot of things to learn. So yeah.
Sure.
Like becoming a civil
That's
engineer.
fine.
So, yeah.
That's good.
Grace, do you have anything?
So I think for me, yeah, it's been an interesting conversation though.
Yeah.
So like I learned what goes on in the lecturer's head per se, because me
Yeah.
as a student, I'm just like,
Just doing
these
your own
lecturers,
thing.
me, I'm just doing my own thing. You understand? I was always that student that finish what you are doing, no, let me be going home. My own is that either let me go home or let me go and sell what I need to sell. Like, just hurry.
We actually
Let me
have
go.
students that tell us
Yeah,
that.
so-
Students to be like, so this thing you are doing, it's not my focus. I have deals that are waiting for me that I need
Exactly.
to,
But I think for me, when it comes to concentrating and reading my books and trying to understand, it was something I took as a priority to me.
Yeah.
So that I don't end up wasting my parents' resources
Mhm.
and mine too. So
Yeah.
If you don't have a goal from the beginning, it's a waste of time.
yeah.
You need to want to learn, to actually be open to the process of teaching you, of forming you.
Yeah.
So it's very, very important.
Yeah.
Another
All
quote.
right.
You have anything to share with us?
Like,
And take out anything at all?
I think I've shared everything.
3
Okay.
quotes, but I can't remember
3
them.
quotes.
I'll watch them again.
Lecturing is the best.
Hmm.
Ah.
Lecturing is the best. It's been an interesting experience for me, journey into lecturing. Eventually, I'd like to try something else, just to kind of expand. Like I said, I like to grow, I like to learn, but we'll see. Condition they make crayfish bend. So
Mhm.
So
Thank you so much. So for me, I think my takeout is have audacity. Ask for what you want.
seriously.
yeah,
No, but really, like sometimes you actually just ask. Like what's the worst
Yeah.
that could happen is a no.
yes.
Yeah. So just go ahead and ask. And then I've also learned that if you want to make any changes to your building, you don't just need an architect, you also need an engineer.
You're looking at
Very,
my
very
neighbors right
important.
now.
And once there's a crack in your
Yes.
building, there's an issue.
Yeah.
There's,
Yeah.
there's,
So-
there's something.
Yeah. Thank you so much, everyone. I hope you've enjoyed your time with us. We've enjoyed this conversation and we would love to see you same place, same time next week. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, share, turn on your post notifications. Don't be the last to see these videos. Don't be
Yeah.
the last. So thank you so much and bye, guys. Bye.
Thanks for having me.
Bye.
Bye.